Today we're going to talk about 7 secrets the motorcycle industry will never tell you. This is going to help you if you want to buy or sell a motorcycle, and also to decide when to buy and who from. My opinion, looking into the industry from the outside as a buyer and also based on my experience in business. My preference is for Harleys. I've also owned a few other brands. I've actually owned countless motorcycles over 40 plus years. So don't let the Harley talk put you off. This is a Harley channel after all, and Harleys are like a religion, so relax, put your feet up and sing along to the hymns. Just kidding, it's going to be the devil's work. Hi, my name's Eamon and welcome to the channel. Don't forget, you've probably got about 24 hours to capitalise on the July 10% discount on Resurgence gear. Remember, I mentioned that at the start of the month. Links are in the description. If you like the video and channel, subscribing's free, but the supporter gear costs money. But gee whiz, it's worth it. Check out the website, grab a cap, sticker, t-shirt or beanie. I've only ever had one problem when buying a motorcycle. I travelled a long way to get it and there was a huge drama involving the police, which I'll explain later. Now, number 1 is you don't need to upgrade and buy the newest bike. If you buy a new bike, you're not going to be a better rider. It's highly unlikely you're going to have more fun, unless you're going from something that's a pain in the butt to something that's great. Manufacturers want you to think that buying this year's model is awesome. It's going to make you a better person, get you more chicks, become Superman, whatever. It's not true. Just in case you're wondering about being Superman, it really isn't true. So you probably don't need to buy something if you already have a bike. Of course, the newer bikes are awesome, but so are the old ones. You really want to upgrade, or are you just bored? I've done it a million times myself, a complete waste of money. Gee, I'm bored today, I'll buy a new bike. Nothing wrong with the old one. Now, if you're bored and you want to spend money, then think about engine upgrades, new paint, or just go for a ride somewhere different. Now, I see people do this all the time. They upgrade an already awesome bike to something very similar. Sometimes they do this under finance, which is even worse, just to get a slightly better stereo and the latest colour or a slightly bigger engine. Well, it's your money, and of course some people have money falling from the trees that they've grown in the backyard. So they can upgrade every 20 minutes or so, but that's the minority of people. It's a costly exercise, and the point is you'll be fine on your bike even if it's 10, 20 or 30 years old. Number 2, the dealer sells you what they want, not necessarily what you want. A good salesperson will solve your problem, and they'll do this in as genuine a way as possible. But there are 546 ways to skin a cat. So if you want a Road King special and they only have street glides in stock, the salesman might just determine that your only problem is you don't have a bike. Bingo, you've now got a man's bike. Go the Street Glide. They might also upsell you straight to the top of the line CVO touring bike. Do you really want that? Usually the more expensive bikes have a greater margin as a cash amount anyway, so they've got an incentive to sell you this. They might also sell you accessories, engine upgrades, insurance, clothes, and let's not forget finance. All of these things, even though they're small ticket items, have a bigger or a huge percentage markup, and that's not necessarily bad. You might like the things that they're selling. You might buy all those things anyway, but in the heat of the moment, under the spell of a new bike and a professional salesperson, you might just walk out with more than you can afford. The easiest way around this is to research before you go in, know what you want, know how much you can get it for somewhere else, and that's before you go in. Now, number 3, the best deal might be to buy secondhand. Buying secondhand can be from the dealer or from a private seller. Obviously, this is cheaper because the bike's used and there are taxes and fees that you don't have to pay. As a bonus, there's usually a whole range of things already done to the bike that you now don't have to do. When I bought my current Street Glide, which was nearly new, it already had Reinhardt slip-ons and a tuner. The tuner I binned straight away for a much more aggressive one. The slip-ons, I've had the same before on another Street Glide. I love the sound, so that saved me a fair bit of money. And of course I saved squillions of dollars from the cost of a new bike just by accepting a bike with a couple of thousand kilometres on the clock. Now, if you buy secondhand from a dealer, there's usually more room to bargain on the price because they might have got it very cheaply as a trade-in. I know I got a good deal on mine, which was traded in on a smaller bike because the owner thought it was too big for him. Now, if you buy from a private seller, sometimes they're too emotional and they want ridiculous prices. My thinking is, if they're not much cheaper than the dealer's price, it's safer to go with the dealer because the dealer's usually reputable and they give you a warranty. At the end of the video, I'll give you a few tips to get a good deal on a second-hand bike. Now, number 4, the price of the bike is not the final price. The other stuff that goes with a bike adds up bloody fast. There are big markups percentage-wise on accessories, mods, insurance, finance and clothing, which is fine, but also means you might be able to save some money if you shop around. Very easy at the Harley dealer to add 10 grand to the price of the bike. Some of the mods they do for you on a new bike, you can easily do yourself if you want to save yourself some money. Exhaust system, seats, handlebars, air cleaners, all of the chrome stuff, basic tuning, it can all be done very easily with a raft of aftermarket parts that are often just as good or better quality than the manufacturer's stuff. Those of you who finance bikes, ring around for a good rate before you go shopping. It's all just an exercise in awareness. I've found the Harley dealer sourced insurance to be cheap on the bike I've got now, even after their markup, compared to going straight to the insurer. I've got no idea why. If you know why, let me know in the comments. And things work both ways. Everyone seems to be offering extended warranties now on everything, cars, bikes, washing machines, you name it. Now to me that means it's very profitable for the insurance company and for the seller of the item. But it also means it's unlikely that you're going to have problems. Doesn't mean you won't. It's just unlikely, otherwise they wouldn't be selling extended warranties all over the place. Usually problems would have been sorted in the initial warranty period anyway. But in return for the warranty, the buyer who takes this offer has peace of mind. For a lot of people, buying a Harley is a major purchase and it's done under finance. So the peace of mind of an extended warranty can be comforting. It's a win-win situation. Number 5, extra oil changes increases the lifespan of your engine. Now that's a controversial one. You could argue that you only need to follow the manufacturer's guidelines. But everyone I've ever spoken to that's into mechanical stuff always says change the oil more frequently than the service manual says. If this is true, the manufacturer won't tell you this because they're always going to suggest the minimum, as this makes the product more attractive. Imagine if they said, change the oil weekly for best results. That would increase the cost and the time and the hassle of owning a motorcycle dramatically. Now, if you're a cynic and you know that businessmen are smart cookies, you might think it's in Harley-Davidson's interest to make the bikes last a long time, but not too long, because that's going to affect sales. I don't know. More oil use is also going to upset the EPA and the regulatory authorities. You know, the authorities that use the unbiased science to determine all sorts of things for your well-being. That was sarcasm in case you missed it. Oil deteriorates with heat, and I always think about 3 things. 1, Harley-Davidsons get seriously hot. 2, they're often hotter than the manual says they should be because they're air-cooled. And 3, it gets really hot here in summer. So with that in mind, I think it's probably wise to change the oil more frequently. Obviously, there's a sweet spot, and most people seem to settle on an extra oil change between service intervals. This is very easy to do yourself, but it adds cost and time to your motorcycle experience. Number 6 is trade in and you get top dollar. I see advertisements for this all the time. It's a straight out lie, unless they mean compared to the shop next door. You don't get top dollar, you get the dollar that they determine they can make their profit on. Now this isn't necessarily bad, it's just the way it is. You benefit from an immediate sale or transition to a new bike. You don't have any hassles of answering calls, dealing with buyers, sometimes for months. But not everybody's got spare time. The dealer benefits from having the ability to sell you a new bike and they can mark up and profit on your old bike. Now remember, they've got to clean it, service it, make it roadworthy, repair anything that's required, and then they've got to give a warranty on it. And then it sits on the showroom floor till it sells. They've actually got to sell it. There's a cost to all this that people often overlook. Now I often hear people complain that the dealer marked up their bike X number of dollars. That's way too much, and they sold the bike before I even left the store with my new bike. That's not fair, blah, blah, blah. Stop! First of all, for every bike that sells straight away, there's going to be another one that doesn't and just sits there. And you probably don't have any idea what it costs for the store to survive. So you can't say that they're making too much or too little profit because you probably don't know. Personally, I think that we should all want all dealers to survive. Otherwise, the whole Harley universe will crumble. And to survive, they've got to make a profit. You can still get an okay deal, all things considered. You just need to remember that with a trade-in, there are two figures that can move up and down. Price of a new bike and your old bike. The maths is more complicated. Don't fall for, I've got a great trade-in price when you're paying full price on your new bike. Perhaps you can get a discount and a good trade-in price. Good is subjective, isn't it? Now, number 7, complexity equals problems. The more complex and the more gadgets on your bike, the more likely something will go wrong. Now, no salesman in their right mind will tell you this because bikes are getting more complex equipment all the time. And this is used as a selling point. It's much easier to get parts made and repairs done on simple mechanical machines than for all the electronics that modern bikes have. I'm already hearing that some of the early computerized Harleys are having problems replacing the ECU when they fail because Harley isn't making the units anymore. The owners are having to look for second-hand units. Now, that's a rumor. Comment below if you know this to be true or not. Now, don't get me wrong, I love modern conveniences. I've got a screen that shows me a map. How good is that on a motorbike? People who hang it on Harleys for being basic equipment, well, that's funny because Harleys last forever, don't they? All right, bonus talk. Now, bikes are a luxury item and many are purchased on a dream or on emotion, like a midlife crisis. And that's really common for brands like Harley-Davidson. When you're emotional, you won't think clearly, and all the points I just mentioned are going to be a haze of confusion. Think about your inability to think straight when you're angry. Same thing happens when you're excited. You're looking at a brand new toy at the dealership, you just want it and you want it now. You'll probably take any offer and any finance just to get it done. If you pre-plan, and this is the best way to approach a purchase. Know what you want and know the price you can get it for. Know what color you're going to buy, what accessories you want, and more importantly, understand and know what you don't want and why. It's always a good idea to know where else you can go for everything. I bought my current bike 1,800 kilometers from home, and even with transport costs, it was cheaper than local. Now, that's nothing against the local dealers. It was just a good deal because I looked around and I asked questions. If you're financing your bike, understand interest rates and how the loan works. All loans are different and they can be very expensive, adding heaps to the cost of your bike. Now, discounts. Best way to get a discount is ask for it. Sometimes if you ask 4 times, you get 4 discounts from the original price. It can be that easy. Now, don't forget, salespeople can smell your level of interest, and this is not going to work if you're too keen. With Harleys, it's very difficult to get a discount because they're masters of keeping the price where it is. They reduce supply when the demand goes, so there's always a shortage of new bikes. On the second-hand market, discounts can be easily had because there are plenty of bikes available, so maybe consider that. How to do it, I'll address in another video, so make sure you're subscribed and hit the notification bell. It's all supply and demand driven, so buy in winter, not in summer. Think ahead if you can. The only problem I've ever had with a motorcycle purchase was my second bike, a 1978 Z1000 Kawasaki. I travelled all the way to Toowoomba in Queensland to get it. This was in the very early 1980s. A short time later, the detectives swooped on me. The bike had just been used in an armed robbery. Just before I bought it, it wasn't me. I had to explain I just bought it and they soon left me alone. Now, if you like today's video, you'll also like my video, Harley-Davidson Dealer Ripoff. Is the dealer charging you too much? And don't forget to check out the website and grab some supporter gear. Ride hard, stay safe and healthy. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.